Guys, you made it. You made it to the end of the course. You've made it to the end of Permission to Prosper. I hope that by now you have given yourself permission to prosper, and that prosperity is starting to show up in your life in real, tangible ways on the external, because you've manifested them internally. And that is really the true meaning of prosperity, is that we've transformed on the inside, and that is now showing up on the outside. However, this is a process, right? Permission to Prosper is a process. It's a way of life. So I want to go through to keep in mind if you haven't yet manifested, or you're trying to manifest again at a different level and you're stuck, right? This is kind of your, in case of emergency, break glass for manifestation list. Okay, so what is the climate, right? What is your vibe? What is the climate? Are you generally joyful? Are you generally sad? Are you generally anxious? You know, does it have a negative tone or does it have a positive tone? Not what's the weather, not is it raining, but what's the general climate internally? Because that internal atmosphere is really what is going to predicate your ability to make money, right? You have to have the energy, you have to have the desire, and you have to have the alignment. So you want to make sure that your weather pattern is feeling really good. And if it's not, that's the first place you need to go. Okay, what am I feeling like? Why am I feeling that way? And where does that lead you? You go back through this process and back through the modules, wherever that leads. What is your relationship to pleasure? Are you still thinking about pleasure? You understand that wealth consciousness and prosperity consciousness is about enjoyment. It's about pleasure. It's about enjoying life. So if you are just focused on making money and you are killing yourself and your body's in terrible shape and you're not laughing or having fun or having any love on yourself or in your life, then you're missing the point, right? Pleasure is a big part of this process. You should be moving towards more and more pleasure in your life, not less and less, right? This you're going to want to be looking at, what's the story around having to work hard? What's my relationship to easy? You know, do I think everything has to be hard? Do I think things can be easy? Do I think making money can be easy? And what do I think about people who make money really easily, right? That's going to show you if you have any blocks in the department around pleasure and money being connected. If you don't have what you want, it means you are in resistance to what you want, right? That's the basic crux of the deal. If you don't have it, you're in resistance to it somehow. It is the law of the universe that if you believe it, that it has to show up, right? There's divine timing in that process. However, it has to show up at some point. If you believe that and feel that to be true. So you want to ask yourself, why am I in resistance to cash flow? Why am I in resistance to having money in my savings account? Why am I in resistance to having more clients every day? Why is there this big gap of time in when money flows in? Well, because if I had money flowing in all the time, I would be successful and I'd be secure. And security to me means total boredom and death. Well, there you go. There's the reason why you're not manifesting. So do some investigating on what you're in resistance to. So gratitude is definitely a part of this process. I didn't make a whole module for it, but I do want to mention it here because that's about being in agreement with what you have now, right? That is about being grateful for what you have now. And the idea is that the more grateful you are for what you have, the more you get of what you have, right? So you want to be affirming every time someone pays you, no matter if it's $1 or if it's $20 or if it's $2,000. You want to be grateful for every payment that comes through that PayPal account. You want to have gratitude for everything from the water coming out of your shower or out of your faucet to having clean clothes to wear, right? So notice that if you are in an angry space and you've processed those emotions, or you're resentful and you've processed those emotions, you want to step into some gratitude, and that'll bring you back into a higher vibe. Decluttering. So decluttering on a mental level, on an emotional level, and on a physical level. All of those places are important because the universe loves a vacuum. It loves to have something empty to fill. It cannot fill your cup if it's full, right? Someone once said to me, the hole through which money goes out is the same one it goes in through. So if your opening is this big, there's not a whole lot that can come into you. So cleaning out your closets, cleaning out your desk, sweeping your PayPal account every night, making sure things are empty for the universe to fill, sends the message of trust that it will be filled again. Holding on gives the message of fear that it won't get full again. So you want to stay in the law of circulation, stay in the law of circulating your money and keeping it flowing, okay? You want to look at, what is my payoff? Remember we talked about the payoff. What is my payoff to not manifesting? What is my payoff to staying right where I am? Okay, you want to ask yourself that when you feel like you're stuck, when you feel like you're not moving forward. Keep focusing on making more money, okay? Don't focus on paying off debt. Don't focus on, scrimping and saving. Focus on making more money and building your money-making muscle, okay? Because if you're used to being an employee, you don't have the muscle for making money. You have the muscle for going to work. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to strengthen that muscle of making money, okay, and receiving money, and get used to making money all the time, okay? Don't focus on the debt. Don't focus on the bills. Bless the bills, bless the loans, bless everything that you have going out of your bank account, and then focus on making more money. Because most of us, our muscle for making money as entrepreneurs is not very strong, okay? And it takes practice and it takes time to build. Just like in a gym, it takes time to build that muscle, okay? Remember, if you want to change something, you need to measure it, observe it, and accept it. Okay, there's those 3 levels that you need to create some space between you and the thing that you want to change. You can't change your time management if you don't know how you spend your time. Set up a timer. Notice how long you do things for, just in one day. How much time you spend on your business, how much time you spend on your family, how much time you spend on yourself, and you'll know exactly where your energy is going. Okay, and then you can change it and shift it so that you can bring it into alignment with what you want to attract. Maturing emotionally and spiritually, okay? Bringing in your wisdom is going to be really important. You have infinite intelligence at your fingertips. The more that you connect with your higher self, the more that intelligence is going to be accessible for you. It's another muscle that you're building, okay? So you want to be looking at, am I being spiritually mature here? Am I being emotionally mature here? And if you're not, you're probably in fear, right? Fear kicks us into that regression, to that default zone, where, we get back into our childhood self, because that's where we go when we're scared. So when you're in those moments, notice that child needs some support. You may need to write a letter to yourself. You may need to connect with yourself. Bring out a picture of yourself from when you were little and talk to that part of yourself. It's okay. I know things are changing. I know they're difficult. I know they're scary. We're going to be okay. I'm not leaving you, right? That child wants to be reassured that the adult, you, is not going anywhere, okay? And that, again, builds that strength, that emotional strength to build your wealth from. You want to think about surrender, right? You want to, at some point through this mindset practice, you're going to be sick of doing mindset work, and you're going to need to just surrender that you have done everything you could possibly do. You've done all the mindset work you can do, and you're going to surrender it, right? And that's just a matter of letting go of control. Letting go of control and allowing the universe to meet you, okay? And this can be hard for a lot of us who have trust issues and have stuff to work through on the trust level. Write out, what's my history with God, the universe, or spirituality? Why don't I trust that I'll be taken care of? Why don't I trust that life is always working out for me? Okay, you want to look at what's the history and what's the relationship there so that you can surrender, because willpower alone will not get you to those magical places. It will not, right? Consistency will, discipline will, but there's this X factor that is surrender, that is us surrendering to that higher unlimited self that can guide us in ways our human brain just can't. Okay, so that's an important piece. When you've done all the mindset work you can do, when you feel that it's a done deal, when you feel you're in the final outcome already, surrender, go for a swim, go for a bike ride. Focus on something else. Focus on cooking healthy for your family. Focus on your friendships. Focus on other things and take a break, right? Just put your attention somewhere else. It's kind of like the watch pot never boils. Let the pot boil. Know when it's time to take your foot off the gas and go do something else while that manifests. That is being in full trust that it's manifested. I'm not sitting over here, washing dishes, worrying about it. I'm sitting over here knowing it's already manifested. So for you to look at, where am I not circulating? Where am I stagnant? Where am I not participating fully in my life? Take a look at those empty places in your life. Are you connected with your body? Are you connected with your family? Are you connected with your emotions? Are you connected with your adventurous side? Are you connected to your sexy side? Are you connected to your intimacy with yourself? You want to look at, where are things stagnant in my life? Because whenever you increase flow, no matter where it is in your life, flow is back to circulation. It's bringing things in again and moving out the old and bringing in the new. And that's another way that money can come in for you. The ego, and remembering that the ego loves to be unhappy. It loves to have things to complain about. It's like its purpose is to do that, right? Its purpose is also to protect us, but it spends a lot of time nitpicking, not liking things, complaining about things. And it doesn't mean you're not happy. It means you're on a familiar track. It means you're over-identifying with the ego, right? And you need to get into some balance and start identifying with your soul again. What makes your soul happy? What is in your soul essence? What kind of things bring you that level of joy, right? You're over-identifying too much with the ego. It's going to be hard to manifest, because the ego doesn't like to be happy. It likes to fix problems. And if there are no problems, it will create some, right? That's the drama piece. So notice when drama is popping up or ego is popping up, because maybe you've been happy for too many days in a row. So a fight starts to happen between you and your partner. Or maybe money has come in too many days in a row and all of a sudden things dry up or a bunch of bills come in. Notice when drama is popping up and that you don't need to pay it attention, right? You want to slow things down and not move from reaction, because reaction is automatic. It's a default. It's strengthening the part of you that is coming from scarcity. And you want to slow things down and respond, right? Not reaction, responding. And that gives you enough time in that process to see what happened for me, and am I reacting from my ego or my soul, from love or for fear? Stop aiming for perfection, right? This is life. You want to be able to make money, enjoy yourself, have a good time with your family and friends, have some pleasure in your life, but it's also life. Things are going to happen. Not great things are going to happen. So just because not great things are happening does not mean that you're on the wrong track. It doesn't mean that you're doing the wrong thing. It means it's life, and that's to be expected. It isn't like a permanent thing that you're always going to be in this blissful place. You're having a human experience, unless you've really transcended that. Most of us are having the human experience, and that means there will be bumps along the road. And bringing that self-compassion when that happens, instead of the critical eye that's like, oh, something's not perfect, I need to, throw the baby out with the bathwater. You're in it for the long haul. You're here to have wealth, right? This isn't an overnight thing. So don't give up because there are bumps in the road and that life happens. I didn't talk a lot about affirmations in the modules, because I really feel like affirmations are one of the last things to worry about in manifestation. Because you need to work through the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions. And then once you get to actions, a maintenance plan for your mindset practice is to have amazing affirmations, right? But if you have this whole bunch of negative stuff under the surface that hopefully by now, as we're in the last module, that we've worked through, but if you haven't, then you're again trying to do something on the surface that isn't shifting you underneath, right? Below the surface. So, but affirmations are amazing to amplify that positive track, to give your brain something to focus on that is positive. And there's a million books out there with positive affirmations. I'm including some in your module as well that you'll be able to download. So yeah, definitely play with affirmations, but don't depend on them to shift your mindset, okay? Declaring and decreeing is really, really important because it does strengthen that muscle of trust, but only if it's true for all the other layers, the mental, emotional, and spiritual layers. When you're in a negative space, don't worry that your negative space is gonna manifest all these terrible things. When you're in a negative space, just work on getting into neutral. Just work on becoming the observer. Don't worry about trying to swing yourself into the positive, right? Because then you're gonna be suppressing or avoiding something. So just worry about getting yourself into neutral, not necessarily into the positive, which is the whole kind of affirmation thing. People just say, positive affirmations, you'll feel better. No, acknowledge that the negative is happening so that you're not ignoring anything, and then move yourself into neutral. How do we move ourselves into neutral? I'm aware that I'm in resistance. I'm aware that I'm in a negative space right now, and I'm going to give myself the space to do that. Right? Oftentimes our feelings just need a little bit of space, and then they're not quite as powerful, and we can move through them into the next thing. So remember that when you are having a dark time, and it's entirely possible that you could be having a dark time, that you could be having something they call a dark night of the soul, where things just feel dark, and you can't see the hope, and you can't see the positivity, and you can't see the silver lining, okay? And know that even as you go through it and you surrender to it, oftentimes when we're in a dark time, it is calibrating us for something even greater. Remember that hero's journey. Remember that before the hero, gets the Holy Grail, he slays dragons. He or she questions if they can do it. They question if they can go on. They question if they've been abandoned by life. They have that existential questioning before they get to that reward. And that the same is going to happen to you. And that's a normal part of the process. Okay? And it's just preparing you for something even greater. Remember the turnaround. Okay? Remember that it's always all about you. As annoying as that is, it is always all about you. And that is where you get your power back. When you are blaming others and making excuses and projecting, you are truly giving your power away. And the only way to get that back is to take responsibility. Allow your mindset practice to evolve. So you might start off, and I still continue so many years later, I still continue to have exercise, tapping, journaling, meditating, reading as part of my mindset practice. But then you can augment, right? So, some exercises I like to have people try is, if you've never been around anything wealthy, go do that. Go hang out where wealthy people hang out. Go test drive a Porsche. Go have those experiences of being in wealthy environments and notice what kind of thoughts you have. Notice what kind of feelings it brings up for you. Does it make you feel insecure? Does it make you feel nervous? Does it make you feel unworthy? Right? This is going to highlight for you places in which you still need more healing, more balance, and more strengthening. So mix up your mindset practice. Go to a shop where they sell, clothes that are like suits or dresses that are in the thousands of dollars. Try one on. See what that feels like. See what that experience is like, right? And that doesn't mean that that's what you want and you want to spend your money in that, but it's a good way to sort of trigger your wealth consciousness and see where you're at. What's the temperature for you? Does that trigger you in any way, or are you just cool with it? Great, right? It's a great way to notice where your prosperity consciousness is at. Just remember to be you. Just remember that to not lose yourself in this process, that you're shifting identities and you're shifting beliefs and you're shifting your consciousness, right? And that consciousness is something you should be enjoying, right? There's parts of this that are hard, but also remember to have fun and enjoy this process because you're growing and it's not something that ever stops. We never get off this ride. We never get off this ride that we call life. So I'm so thrilled that you took this experience with me. Make sure you do the homework. It's going to have a massive impact on how you absorb these lessons and the shifts that you're going to have. Post in the group and let me know how this experience was for you. Love you guys so much and continue to give yourself permission to prosper.